Hello and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Psychology, the podcast. I am one of your hosts, Sarah Gregg, and I am joined by co-founder and very good friend, Jill Ritchie.
Hello, everyone. Lovely to be back in your ears. We have another really cool episode. And yeah, this is one that a lot of people are going to resonate with. We have probably resonated with it multiple times. So for you, if you are feeling like there's a bit of maybe a process that you're going through of saying goodbye to your old life, and that's feeling challenging, maybe you're met with resistance, criticism, maybe there's an element of grief that's coming in, this need to maybe cling on to the old, then you are exactly where you're meant to be. We're going to talk about it in this episode, Sarah.
Yeah, this episode is titled Your Old Life is Expiring, but that's what you asked for.
Now people are like, what are you talking about? I didn't ask for this. I feel like crap. Actually, you do. So if you have ever asked for growth, expansion, to manifest amazing things in your life, for your relationships to be richer, for more romance, for more money, for all the things that you're asking for, right? To be on the stages, to write the books, to, I don't know, whatever your dream is for you, you're asking for it. Because if you weren't asking for it, you probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast, right? Because we talk about that in this podcast. So the fact that you've asked for it, the universe is like, yes, let's get you into alignment so that we can create space for all of these things that you have asked for to come in. But for that to happen, you need to go through a process of loss of identity, loss of potentially people, of situations, of comforts that can no longer exist for you if you want the life that you're asking for. You cannot have the life that you're asking for, this future, incredible, whatever it is you're trying to manifest, and dance in the old energy. It's impossible. Right, let's talk about it, Sarah.
Yeah.
Juicy.
And like you said, there are different stages and phases of life. We have been through this portal of change multiple times from the very kind of like beginning of like both of us shifting out of corporate careers into a more fulfilling business where we both work kind of like separately building our online coaching businesses, through to then a different portal of creating intuitive psychology, this new philosophy, way of life, way of being, this evidence-informed approach, which really takes people back to their intuition and connects them to this intelligent organizing system, which is always pointing back to the seed of authenticity, the memory of the truth. And then the expansion that comes again with that, really working with the importance of it, putting ourselves on bigger platforms, bigger stages, being able to receive all that is. Every time we've moved through that portal of change and been on like the edge of an identity threshold, it's confronting because the old parts, the parts that no longer resonate, the parts that are no longer in that energetic frequency, the parts that are honestly gonna fuck up the next phase that you're in if you carry them in with you. They can't exist in this new timeline, this new place. You have to let them go, but it does feel like a deep grief sometimes.
Like a death. Well, it is an ego death.
Yeah.
Because you've that served you once. And actually, when Sarah was talking, I'm quite a visual person, and the way I visualize it when she was talking there is like these parts that served us well, that protected us, that maybe even got us to our next level of evolution and growth and expansion, and allowed us to create healthy boundaries, to stand up for ourselves, to put ourselves out there. We're like, yeah, but then they're like visitors, right? So think of them as little visitors that were guides, like visitors and guides that were there to help you on that next level of your evolution. And then there's multiple levels after that, and it keeps you in that space. And it's like, okay, this is what we need. And we're your team of guides and visitors, and we're here to help you through this phase. But when you've kind of reached the threshold of that phase, there comes another phase, and there's this portal of opening again, of more growth and more expansion, because we are limitless beings. The only limit that we have is a limit that we place on ourselves. So if that is true, then we're like, okay, so where's the next door that I'm going to open? The next door is there, and it's like ready for me to open. And those little visitors are just like, okay, bye, love you. Go on. It's like your mum dropping you off at nursery, right? It's like, bye, love you. I know that you're going to go through this door, and there's going to be other visitors that are there and ready and willing and able to support you on that next level of phase. And when they've done that, you move through the next door, and it's another group of guests and visitors and guides that are there to help you. We're very attached to where we are and the people and the situations and things. But if we start to see it as guests, right, that are here and as guides to support us until we reach that level of, okay, I'm at that level now, and here's another opportunity to go through this next door, this next phase, and have guides and support and people there that can help me there. We become less attached to holding on to it, because if we want to get to the next level and the next level, whatever that is for you, we can't do it dancing in the same energy that we're in right now. But we need to really understand that letting go of the attachment is the key. It's not about like, oh my God, what happens? I can't survive. Of course you can. You can absolutely grow and evolve, but it takes a new set of energy, a new set of guides and people that can help you. I mean, that's the way I kind of try and work it. I am a visual person. So when I sort of use like metaphors, right, it's like little people helping me. I'm less likely to hold on when I sort of frame it that way.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful. And there are different people come into our lives for different seasons, different reasons. Some of them are constant, some of them aren't. Some friendships are formed out of periods in our lives when we're not in our full authenticity, when we are wearing a mask and we're performing the person who they need us to be. And then as we kind of like develop that courage to like drop the mask, there's an invitation to that person. Like, now that I'm not maybe fulfilling your needs and meeting your needs, now that I'm an equal player, like in this relationship, and I'm bringing my needs to the table, and, I'm also accepting you, like, can we kind of co-create in this reality? And for some people it's a yes, and for other people it's too confronting because they've been used to you being the person that tells them what they need to hear, that shows up whenever they need them to. And then all of a sudden, when you're not as readily available for that, they don't want to be part of it. And it can feel like a rejection. It can feel like you've been let down. It can feel like, well, I've been there for you loads, and what's wrong with me? But I think at every stage, at every portal we're moving through, it's a different, I don't want to use the word identity, because I think identity is a word that I think it, with the big I in front of it, it's like we're attached to it. It's actually just a new level of your authenticity. It's getting back to your authenticity, and it's actually shedding like those parts of
that you cannot grow in. You cannot grow in
that
it.
were never part of your authenticity.
Exactly.
They were your protector parts.
So there's almost this like difference with like people in your life, like physical people, right? Whether that's friendships, connections, whatever. And also versus when I go visual, and when I was thinking about the guides and the parts, they're almost like the parts of me.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes when I'm referring to this, it is like there's these little parts like the safety, the help, the encourage, like those little champions, and all those other little parts that keep me safe, and also the parts that kind of keep me small and pull me back down, all part of me. And I think when I feel into that, it's like we think we go through this door, but then who's going to protect me? But actually, we have this infinite resource within ourselves of love, right? And parts, right? And actually, if it's infinite and it's never ending, through that next door and that next evolution, they're all there. It's still there, but actually it's a newer, more evolved version of you.
Definitely. And
that can hold it all.
They're all still there, but the multitudes, the different parts are organized in a greater harmony.
Absolutely. They can hold the fear more, the discomfort. It's like this next level of, okay, you got me to here to move through to the next phase, it's like the stronger parts. They're more
Totally.
resilient, they're stronger, they're more truth. It's more aligned to truth, right?
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, people pleasing normally comes from a place of love and deep empathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the people pleasing part uses that mechanism so that you feel a sense of love, belonging, and connection typically.
Yeah.
Okay. So it cultivates that. Then as you move deeper into your authenticity and you realize actually the truth is, I don't have to change who I am in order to feel loved and connected to. So then the people pleaser part drops, it expires, and it returns back to its natural
Mm-hmm.
origin, which is love and empathy,
Mm-hmm.
but without the conditions of I need to be in order to be loved. But love just returns to its natural place. And so we're in a greater
Mm.
harmony. But that can feel like an identity loss, like because and grief. And it does feel like parts of you are expiring because it's like, who am I if I'm not being who other people need me to be? Like, who am I if I'm the person that says no? Who am I without the job title
Uh-huh.
of manager, CEO? Like, who am I if all of a sudden my business that I've grown to a really successful stage now moves in a different direction?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who am I if I then stand on the stage and become an authority in my field? Will people look at me and be like, oh, I remember when she just did
Who
that wee
does she
job. Who
doesn't
does
know
she
what
think
she's
she
talking
is?
about? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, your intuition will never guide you wrong. Not everyone is called to this path, okay? Some people, and there is, each person has a different path. There are people in this world who want to live in a cabin in the woods and, I
Mm.
don't know, cultivate a garden or grow something. There are people that want to make the family just the centerpiece. There are other people like us who, want to create a business and have like a more of a lasting kind of like impact on the world,
Legacy.
legacy work. No one is better than the other. It's just different paths. And again, it's intuitively following that path. But if you have that intuitive nudge that tells you, and you don't know why it tells you this, there's more to you. Like, you're meant to be here to be the fullest expression of yourself. Number one, that can be a really lonely path because not everyone is called to walk that
Yeah.
path. Number two, you're going to be misunderstood, like
Mm-hmm.
on the
Mm-hmm.
journey.
You'll be
You're
criticized,
going to be criticized.
judged.
You are going to be judged. And number three, you're going to lose people as you
Uh-huh.
flourish into the wholeness, as you start to take up space. People will just naturally like move away, not because they're bad people, not because you're a bad person, but just that relationship has
Yeah.
expired. It's fulfilled its purpose and its role, and you clinging to it
Mm-hmm.
keeps you stuck in that
Keeps
old
you small.
energy and
Keeps you
keeps you in that
small.
old identity of like, this is who this person needs me to be.
Yeah, it does. It keeps you small, but also, even as Sarah was talking there, that can maybe bring up things for you, the listener, can maybe make you feel a bit emotional. And it should, because maybe your whole life you've had connections with people and they don't get it anymore. And that's like, whoa, what did I do wrong? We make it mean like we've done something wrong. So then, do you know what? Get back in your box.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes those people don't even want to make you feel small. It's a natural evolution and it's a natural path, but it's the meaning that you make it. But I also think not to bypass those emotions. So just allow yourself to feel that. If you've had a relationship with someone for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and suddenly that is no longer because you are stepping into your authority, your authenticity, and you are growing, you're allowed to feel sad about that. You're allowed to grieve that part. People talk about separation in relationships, and there's a grieving process that people go through. The death of a loved one. A lot of people don't talk about the losing friendships, losing
Yeah.
things that you've maybe had your entire life, and there's memories, there's lots of things that can come up for you. It's necessary to feel what you need to feel, but do you know what's really necessary as well? To get in rooms and to get into spaces with people who get it.
Yeah, definitely. And
You're
I
not alone.
yeah, and you're not. And I think, if you're listening to this and you have maybe even, there's family and friends, but I also think there's like family dynamics that can come into play.
Mm-hmm.
I think especially unconsciously when we start to um outgrow and outperform, maybe where other family members are at, it can be triggering for them. There can be an underseed of kind of like resentment, an underseed of like, oh, oh, there she is, kind of like off again or whatever, and an undercurrent again of this belonging. And I think when our old life is expiring, I think belonging and connection and um, the illusion of like we need to stay connected to the same people, like I think that's the biggest rub. I think when you're on this journey, you are going to trigger people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not your responsibility to change and mask, and you have a choice to make. It's like when you drop that mask and you show someone who you really are, when you drop that mask and you stop the people pleasing, when you drop the mask and you express your wants and needs, when you drop the mask and you're like this is who I am in the world, not everyone's going to love it. And
Mm-hmm.
some people are going to naturally move away because they want the old version of you
Yeah.
that met their needs. They don't want this new
You've
version. And
changed.
the change, and it is really hard. Like, we've both lost kind of like different people along the ways, and like relationships have just kind of faded out, or conversations that would have ignited us before, like no longer kind of like have the same spark. And there is a sadness there. But also, isn't life beautiful whenever you get to live like a multitude of different
Yeah.
chapters? Like, I don't want the chapter in every, like each page of the book to be the same with the same characters. Sometimes it's like a necessary clearing out so that, like to your point, like new people kind of come in, new guides, new people that you learn from, new people that may even trigger you, in different ways and
Yeah.
like up level you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful thing. But remember, you asked for this. You're on this path because
Yeah.
something inside you goes, I want to do this. Like, I want to
There's
help
more.
people.
There's
There's
more for
more.
me.
I want to
I'm
have an
not living to my
impact.
full potential. And that's the most common thing that people say. I should feel really grateful and really happy, but I know that there's something missing. I know that there's something that I'm not doing. And when you start to really answer that call, loss is inevitable, but so is growth. And you will meet new people that will support you, will guide you until they no longer can hold you in that space, until you outgrow that space and then you move again. Again, it's this attachment to like people, situations, and things versus connection. I think we can get the two muddled up.
Yeah.
I think connection is a human need. We love connection. We're human beings. But versus attachment, and it's knowing the difference between connection and attachment, and just checking on where you're at with that. And also knowing that when you grow, it will piss people off, right? It will trigger people. But I think it's really difficult to stay in any form of friendship, relationship, whatever that is, with someone who would put you down, would try and keep you small, that doesn't support you. Is that really someone, if you are radically honest with yourself, is that someone that deserves to be in your life if they continually want to keep you small, put
Mm-hmm.
you down, project, pull you back? You really need to understand that, and if that's a choice. Again, everything's a choice, but you cannot grow, you cannot manifest that life that you know that you are capable of, that is there for you, being in that energy with those people. You just can't. And so either you do or you don't, but know that you have complete choice over that.
Mm-hmm. So if you're listening to this and you're navigating a lot of different changes and you really do feel like, things are expiring, we really just want to normalize that conversation today and just say, we get it, we understand. But again, we are nature and we've got to let things that,
Die.
yeah, things that
We do.
like don't align or aren't kind of part of like, our next level growth just like fall away naturally. And sometimes It doesn't need the big dramatic
No,
conversation. It doesn't need the intervention. It doesn't need you
more
telling
energy.
someone, this is how
No.
I need you to be. Sometimes it is
Hmm.
just noticing when people show you repeatedly
Who they are.
who they are, believe them and respond accordingly. You don't need to change and control other people in the same way that that person needs you to be the loving, kind friend who's going to do everything for them. And you maybe need them to be the supportive friend. If they can't give that to you because that they don't have the capacity, we can't ask anyone else to change. It's just like,
No.
I see, I honor that, but we
Hmm.
are now not kind of like right. We're not a right match for each other
Hmm.
energetically. And we've got to let that go
Let it
and
dissolve.
just let it happen naturally. Let
Hmm.
things that need to fall away naturally. Doesn't need often like the big conversation. It's just like if they're meant to be in your life, then they will be. And vice versa. If you're
Hmm.
meant to be in their life, then you will be. And if not, it will just dissolve in its own way, in its own time.
Yeah. Allow that to dissolve rather than abandoning yourself.
Yeah.
Never let that be. I can't tell anyone what to do, but it's my wish for everyone that they don't choose that
Hmm.
self-abandonment over attachment.
Yeah.
Because where does it stop? Where do you draw the line, and where do you get to a point where you're like, actually, this isn't serving me. They love this version of me, but actually it's
That
not
it's
really
not me.
me. It's not me. We said this on I think it was the last season. They may like you, they don't love you because they don't know you.
Yeah.
And that's really
Yeah.
confronting. It's really confronting.
Yeah. Or they love the inauthentic version of you, the version of
Hmm.
you that, you configured yourself to be in order to gain their love and belonging and connection. So of course, then when that changes, it's not the same match,
Hmm.
and there's the other side of the story. There's the loss of a friend for that person as well, because not everyone understands change. Like they can just observe it and go, oh, they're different now. They were always like doing stuff for me or giving, and now, they say no every now and again, and it's confronting. Relationships are messy, friendships are messy, adult friendships are messy, female friendships are complicated. But the only thing that we have to do is just be true to ourselves and approach everything with like a place of love and authenticity and integrity. And those that are meant to stay connected will, and those that
Hmm.
aren't, don't. Doesn't mean they won't come back into your life at a different time or a different place. But how do you lighten the load? Because it's a courageous enough journey to become who you are without wasting energy worrying about what other people think.
Yeah, definitely. And just get in rooms, get in conversations with people that are similar to you or further ahead than you, somewhere that's maybe been through that. Because I do believe that connection and community is so important. And if the community that you're in right now isn't really serving you and helping you move into that next phase, that next evolution, that next growth, part of growth, then find people that are. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
These are your expanders. These are your expanders. And if you want to be at that level, where that you are living in full authenticity, you're manifesting, you're achieving, you need to get in spaces with people, whether that is even like a Facebook community, whatever that is,
Yeah.
Instagram, memberships, masterminds.
Local meetups.
It does require an investment, whether that's money or time.
Mhm.
You've got to do it though. Do not sit back and expect it just to land on your lap. It doesn't work like that. Get yourself out there, get yourself in rooms with people, have the conversations, and let's normalize growth and expansion. Allow that to be your new baseline. And suddenly you're not kind of mourning the loss of what was because you're already over in the new space, dancing with those people.
I
And you're
love
like, oh
that.
my God, this is amazing. And I think it gets to be amazing. I know we talk about this and it can feel a bit like, ugh. It doesn't have to be. It's the meaning that you make out of it. How much time are you going to spend grieving that? I said earlier, feel the feelings, but do not live in them. Don't live in them. It's not your burden to carry. Meanwhile, the party's happening somewhere else. Like,
I know you're looking the wrong direction. I always kind of come back to that. It's like and it happens when something is expiring because you're on that threshold. So part of you's looking back at the old life and part of it you is looking towards the new life. But how do you just point your gaze kind of like gently and compassionately
Uh-huh.
towards the new, towards the authentic version of you that is pulling you forward intuitively? And how do you get in the rooms, to your point,
That give
of
you
people
energy.
who have done the same, who have
Uh-huh.
navigated the path and who get it?
Who
I
get
think
it?
that's such
Who
a
give you
powerful way.
energy to yeah, powerful way to just wrap that up, because listen to me, these places, these people exist and they give you life, they give you energy, they give you vision, and they normalize this expansive growth in world where it gets to be great, but you can't do it when you've got one foot in the other camp.
Hmm.
You know, let go of the attachment and the clinging on for dear life. It's that part needs to just go, and you just need to move with it and enjoy the party. Enjoy it, enjoy the space that you're moving into now. It gets to be great.
Yeah, love that. I love that. Such a great episode. And thank you for listening to the podcast. If you have enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to like, rate, leave a comment. All of this really helps us increase the visibility of intuitive psychology, of the work that we're doing within this field. And it is greatly appreciated. Or share it with someone in your life you really feel like would enjoy this. Again, it just really helps us get this work out to more people, and we're massively appreciative. Thank you so much.